Final Tribal Council, the last chance a player has to swing the jury to their side to award them the $1 million. Over the course of Survivor's history, we have seen many tribal councils where players blow it hard, and even fewer where they absolutely seal the game and ensure that they are the right choice to be the rightful winners of their season. Today, I am counting down the top 10 final tribal council performances based on my personal opinion of the difficulty level, their success, and entertainment value. So with that, number 10. Tony Vlachos of Season 40 Winners at War took an approach we will see a few times on this list, as he plays himself down a lot and talks up others. He just doesn't talk up the two people he's sitting next to, which is of course smart. His final tribal performance includes him saying how he lives a boring life. The jury members were really good at this game, and when he is attacked by Natalie, he doesn't back down. He stands his ground and defends himself and explains very clearly how he's right. Tony would be higher on this list, but I think out of everyone here, he might have the easiest jury. They're all so clearly enamored by him from the start, and Tony makes sure to capitalize on this goodwill by explaining his story, how he has changed since Cagayan, and hammers home that every relationship he built here is real. But I think what sells him the most over Natalie Michelle is his ability to make the jury laugh.
My first season, I built a spy shack. The second season, I built a spy bunker. This season, Adam, you're gonna love this, man.
Spy nest?
Yes, man. I used to climb up there and listen to Who Wanted to Blindside Me. I used to have a bird's eye view, looking out and looking at them. And at one point, I was up there for like a half hour, and I'm holding on a twig, and I'm shaking. And I almost fell out of the spy nest. That's how I knew a lot of the things that I did know, which helped me, and that was a strategic part of it. And then let the game evolve as it's gonna evolve.
By the way, thanks for watching, commenting, and subscribing. Did you know I made this back in August of 2022? Well, for only a few bucks a month on Patreon, you can pick what videos I make, like this one, get exclusive videos every month, and see them all early. So come on over to Patreon to support Once Upon an Island and get to have a say in what I make. Thank you for your support. Number 9. Mike Holloway of Season 30 Worlds Apart wouldn't have even cracked this list if you don't factor in the context of this final tribal, but I think we have to do that here. Mike burnt a lot of the jury on his way to the final 3, and basically the move he made at the auction set himself up to have no choice but to play ruthless. He has more work to do in his final tribal than Tony did, as the jury is not at all enamored by him, aside from 2 people. But Mike is given only a couple of opportunities to sway the jury, so he really has to take advantage of the few opportunities he gets. No one seemingly really wants to ask questions, everyone just wants to make statements. Tyler straight up tells Mike how the jury feels burned by him, and Mike's response is that maybe he sucks and he had no idea about this before the season began. Basically, he's pointing the finger at himself instead of getting defensive. Whenever I make a top 10 worst final tribal council performance list, you will see the opposite. You'll see people getting defensive, you'll see them pointing the fingers back at the jury, and it just won't be a good look. Jen and Shirin do a lot of legwork here by making pleas to the jury on Mike's behalf. They don't even ask him a question. But Jen says everyone needs to accept that Mike outplayed them here and stop being bitter Bettys. Whereas Shirin says when she was being bullied, Mike was the only one who stood up for her in this final 3 and treated her with kindness. As I said, Mike isn't doing a whole lot here because he doesn't really get the opportunity to talk, but I believe this interaction alone is why he makes this list, because he goes above and beyond to make this happen.
Colby Donaldson proved that just because you win immunities doesn't mean you get to win this game.
You're right.
You got to get to the end with the right people, and you got to put the right people on the jury. And Mike, you didn't care about the jury. All you cared about was making it to the end. Well, let me tell you, brother, you damn well better care about us tonight, because there's no necklace to save your ass tonight. Thank you.
My biggest regret in this game is losing your trust. At the auction, going back on my word, put a wedge in between us that I was unable to repair. And I'm truly sorry for that. This goes beyond gameplay right now. Like, I hope that you and I can be friends, but if not, I wanted to say in front of everybody that I apologize to you publicly for going back on my word.
That is the most genuine thing that you have said to me since the auction. You have danced, you have skirted, you have dodged what you did. That finally was real. And for that, I am grateful. I'm hoping that we can mend these fences. Maybe someday, if we're big enough, if we're man enough, we can do that.
Agreed.
Dan was the player most burned by Mike, and he didn't even give him a chance to talk like so many others. But Mike goes above and beyond and earned Dan's vote and helps swing the jury to realize that, yeah, Mike has changed, and he does realize that he sucks sometimes. Number 8. Sophie Clark of season 23, South Pacific, is in a different position than the previous 2 players on this list. Tony was working from a position of power, and Mike was working his way back into good graces. Sophie, on the other hand, is on equal ground with the 2 people she's sitting next to, Coach and Albert. No one really likes any of these people. So Sophie's job is to differentiate herself from these 2 knuckleheads. Now, how does she do this? And the answer is by taking the honest approach, which is a good contrast to Albert and Coach, who are both lying, with Albert knowing that he's lying and Coach lying, but at this point, I think Coach might even believe his own lies, if that makes sense. Sophie jumps on their bad jury management by just burning them both.
Before I came to this game, I said, I wish I was a man, because men in this game seem to be able to get 2 young girls to follow them to the end, and that's something I can't do. And when I met Coach, I saw him as the equivalent of a young girl. He was someone who said to me, my loyalty is worth more than $1 million. I want to come out of this game restoring who I am. That's a guy who's not going to write my name down. With Albert, he was really into strategy. And I liked the idea of aligning with someone who I could really talk strategy with the whole game. As the game went on, our relationship disintegrated to the point where I was going to vote him out for sure. And Coach and I became more on the same page. And then I'd say the reason he's here at the end is because I felt like keeping him in the game would give me a better shot at staying in the game than keeping in Rick.
Sophie not only helps bury these 2, but says, yeah, I have my flaws. And I will point out that she is straightforward about how she played, which is refreshing after the season's cult-like alliance which ran the game. Sophie points out her strengths and her weaknesses. But the real kicker is how Sophie sees a few people on Coach's side willing to give him a second chance, and she goes for the KO punch.
And I didn't play it because I didn't need to play it.
Can I just clear something up about the idol too? The idol was actually not found the way that Upolo thought it was found. Albert found the clue with the help of Coach and I distracting the team. Coach then found the idol, and we originally thought we would keep it for the 3 of us. And then it got to the point Brandon was hunting anything for an idol that wasn't there anymore. And so we staged a discovery of the idol.
Number 7. Tom Westman of season 10 Palau is working from the top as Katie is seen as a goat who did nothing. So all Tom needs to do is not screw this up. But I think he goes above and beyond the Call of Duty. He does more than he had to win this game. He takes the humble approach like Tony does in season 40, a good tactic for anyone who appears to be better than the rest. And he apologizes to Greg, explains to Stephanie why he turned on her, and tells Janu that nothing he ever did was personal. He played a game. It's all pretty straightforward, and he quells anyone's issues with him succinctly. His 2 biggest moments come when he is approached by Jen, and she says, Tom, I think you're being misogynistic this whole game. And he says, I can see why you would think that, given how I didn't respect your game like the whole time until the end when I saw how you were playing and I realized, wow, Jen came here to play and I just didn't understand what she was doing or who she really was. So basically Tom says, yeah, he can see how he appeared to be misogynistic, affirming what Jen said, but then says he realized his mistake by seeing what she was doing and changed his ways. It's brilliant. While he never does anything to sway Kobe, which stops Tom from having the first ever perfect game, he handles Karen, his other biggest critic, with something that still baffles me to this day as to how it worked.
So was I a pawn, or did we have a real
If
friendship,
you were a
Tom?
pawn,
Within the confines of this game, was it legitimate and genuine, what we were saying to each other, or was I a pawn?
I'll tell you what,
Just
I
tell
won't
me.
even answer that question. I'm going to let you find that for yourself in your heart, okay?
Okay, fair enough.
I can't explain that, but Tom knew that giving her no answer would basically answer her question in a way that pleases her. Tom, that's brilliant. I would not have thought of this. That is some expert jury management. Number 6. Marianne of season 42, aptly named Survivor 42, takes an approach I don't think most of us saw coming, given her frantic and crazy behavior throughout stretches of this game. But Marianne goes into Final Tribal with a calm head, being the favorite to land in second place behind Mike, but is actually one of the most articulate and well-spoken Final Tribal performers of all time. She is graceful and treats everyone with the utmost respect while admitting to her faults and explaining her moves to the best of her abilities. That alone is not what gets her on this list though. She does do a smart job of connecting her game by weaving in a brief story of her family history, but also what nets her this spot here is that she drops a bomb on the jury that pretty much seals that her game was more impressive than any of them thought.
My one big move that I did was set myself up to be in the final 3 with multiple combinations with Omer's vote. Let me explain to you why. When I voted out Omer, Mike gave me his word that he will give me his idol at the final 5, and that would guarantee me the final 4. But then, you might be like, Mike backed on his word, so how were you so sure? And the reason is I kept the only secret in this game. I actually, after your vote, Tori, had the merch idol. I can show it to you right now. And I told no one about it. You can see it over here. Here's the idol. Here's the note. So now we're then off to my final 4 of Jonathan, Mike, me, and Romeo. So that meant that if I won, I'm going to the end because I'm not making fire. If Mike won, he gave me his word that I would go to the end. If Romeo won, Romeo was afraid of Mike, he would take me to the end. And if Jonathan won, he would want to go and have that final big move to take Mike out, and Romeo and I would be at the end. By taking you out, Omer, I gave myself the best position to be sitting here.
Number 5. John Cochran of season 26, Fans vs. Favorites 2, is in a similar position to Tony and Tom before him on this list. Cochran is playing from the top, and as long as he can just hold steady, he should win. But like Tom, he goes above and beyond to not only win, but sweep the jury by expertly answering everything they throw his way. He sucks up on multiple occasions, but sells this so well that it works. It doesn't ever seem like he's lying. Do I ever believe that he would be at the bar with the 3 amigos like he says? No. Do I believe him though in the moment when he says it? Yeah. He has a clean final tribal performance that will land higher on this list if it weren't just so easy for him. His competition is ripped to shreds in Sherry and Dawn as they are attacked constantly and even practically forced Dawn to pull out her fake teeth. All in all, a flawless final tribal from Cochran, only marred by a lack of competition.
So I'm also very nervous, but this is the culmination of 13 years of passion for Survivor. Half my life. In high school, I used to wear a buff every night that Survivor was on. I used to pass out a newsletter. I wrote a paper about it in law school. This is an obsession. And the fact that I'm here now is surreal and an honor. I had no fantasy that I would become one of the top 10 challenge performers in Survivor history. Socially, I consider myself a socially awkward person. I have anxiety, but somehow I kind of fell into the role of therapist. When paranoia was rampant around camp, I would step in and try to be a calming force, which is unusual for me. And strategically, I'm proud of myself. And when the merge hit, that's when the individual threats emerged. And I've seen every season of Survivor. I've never seen a collection of threats like this. And I know I can't out-muscle. I know I can't out-charm. I don't even think I can really out-strategize anybody, but I can beat people in timing. And that's what this game has been for me, is timing. Whenever a threat emerged, I would strike before I could be struck at. I've lied along the way, I've deceived along the way, and I'm proud of it, and I want to own it, and I want you to be aware why I think I played the best game here. So I'm looking forward to the questions. You can tear me apart, but I want to prove why I played the best game.
Number 4. Sandra Diaz-Twine of season 7 Pearl Islands does such a good job of ensuring that she is the obvious choice as the winner, because going into Final Tribal, a bad job on her part could have done her in and made her lose. As Sandra points out, the person she is sitting next to, Lil, is responsible for why most of the jury is sitting there. Now in modern Survivor, this would only help Lil, but this is season 7 and Sandra knows her jury and knows that saying this will only make them like Lil less. Sandra pitches to everyone that she was dependable and did whatever she needed to not be voted out. The biggest criticism anyone throws her way is how they think she rode coattails, and while she doesn't provide any clear examples of how she wasn't riding coattails before Rupert was voted off, she explains how once he was gone, she had no one to hide behind. She had to play her own game. Which is true. Sandra takes the Sophie approach, though Sandra came before Sophie, and is honest to a fault. Just telling it like it is and not sugarcoating anything, admitting to her own mistakes while also acknowledging her strengths. She even says, yeah, I got into fights, and that's just who I am. She answers everyone perfectly, and she only comes 1 vote shy of sweeping the jury and pulling off the first ever perfect game. This answer she gives Rupert perfectly encapsulates her knowledge of the jury and what to tell each of them.
That day when the vote came through, I did not know you were going home. I was mad at John, I don't know if it was, so I wrote his name thinking, well, it doesn't matter because everyone else is gonna vote off Dara, so my vote can go towards John and it won't make a difference. When I got back with Krista to the tribe, everything just blew up because I was cursing, mad, screaming, hollering that how could this have happened to Rupert? But I was not aware that you were going. But remember, I always told you, John is a snake, something's going down, this is not right. And what did you say? Drake all the way, we bleed Drake, alliance this, alliance that, and look what happened.
I know.
Sounds good?
Yes.
I didn't know.
Number 3. Todd Herzog of Season 15 China is probably lower on this list than you would have imagined him being when you clicked on the video. Don't get me wrong, he does a great job. I just think there are 2 people who do an even better job than him, and it isn't even close in my mind. What Todd does best is looking better than the 2 people he's sitting next to. Todd does a great job looking better than Amanda, who doesn't seem prepared at all. Todd seems very much prepared. And Courtney, who was like, wow, I'm just happy to have made it here. And Todd's like, I've been playing this from the moment I was born to win this game. When Todd talks to PG, he is confident, makes everything sound as if it was planned that way, even if it wasn't, and even ties his gameplay into the art of war and this season's theme. I am sure Jeff Probst had to be proud. Todd does a great job of making Frosty feel good and makes it very clear to everyone that Courtney followed him and how he did more than Amanda. It's all solid and would have placed Todd lower on this list, but this infamous moment is why I believe many place him at the top, and for me it did move him up as well.
You started to strategically place ideas in people's heads, which is what I wanted my job to be. And when you had approached me about blindsiding James, I was like, oh no, he's catching up. So who then becomes the biggest threat to me? You. What do I have to do? Turn it around on you, who is an extremely great strategic player in your daily life. I had to get rid of my biggest strategic threat, who is you.
I know.
I've never told Ruby shut up.
Honestly, I'm in awe. Shut his mouth.
I do believe that James is the reason this moment is cemented in so many people's minds. He does elevate it. He makes the moment great and not just like a good moment. So props to James and props to Todd. Number 2, JT Thomas's Season 18 Tocantins does something that no one else on this list so far even attempts. It's ballsy and it could have backfired, but JT plays the "aw shucks, I'm not some big shot in real life like Steven is" role, and at every single turn he is ruthless in burying his friend Steven with any answer he can. Considering these two have been friends all game and are friends to this day, JT plays the most cutthroat of anyone else on this list, and it isn't close. Just listen as Steven tries to say, yeah, I grew in this game and I was surprised by my success.
JT is an amazing outdoorsman. I came in with none of these skills. I still persevered and will be leaving the game with many of them.
Growth is irrelevant, really. I mean, that's something you can carry home with you. That's something that's good for you personally, but obviously, you know, if you go to a football game and just because it was harder for you to catch the ball and you catch it doesn't make it better than the person that already knew how to catch it.
JT is just cold. He constantly paints Steven as good and someone who helped JT, sure, but obviously JT would have reached the end without Steven, which only paints Steven as even less so than he is already. Steven's just JT's follower, which is not true. Steven was doing an equal amount of work, if not more, than JT. JT just knows how to handle each juror and say exactly what they want to hear. He tells Debbie that his mom told him not to trust people out here, and that influenced him a lot with how he played because he was going to play an honest, clean game, but his mom said, don't trust anyone. The nail in Steven's coffin is when he admits that unlike JT, he would have taken Aaron to the final 2, who was considered a GOAT by pretty much everyone, and JT takes this opportunity to look like a sad, betrayed puppy dog, and when he answers coach,
because I knew you'd have taken me to the final 2. You know, I thought Steven would, but you know, I just found out otherwise.
JT could let off the gas here and clean sweep the jury. He doesn't have to do anything else. I think he has this all locked up. But no, he doesn't get the first ever perfect game for nothing. When Taj is the last juror to ask them a question, JT tells her that she was like a sister to him, and turning on her only hurt him on a personal level. And finally, Steven tries to attack JT back.
Taj, there was nothing effortless about putting your name down. The hardest vote I made in this game was voting you out. Taj, I've stuck my neck out for you this whole game as well as you for me. We've been like brother and sister. I mean, it was almost harder than my vote last night.
JT had been talking about taking you out next for a while. I had wanted to keep you around until 3, and part of that was because it would be a great statement for the Jalapao 3 to end up, you know, facing this entire Timbira jury.
Is this the same guy I brought with me?
Yes.
What do you, oh, come on now. You've been slandering me all night, and this is the first time I ever took a shot at you.
I think this could be argued as the best final tribal performance ever. It is by far the most cutthroat, and at every single turn, JT plays his role perfectly of him being this just dumb country guy who just wants to succeed in life and could if it wasn't for Steven. Steven, this guy who was just leeching off of JT's success. It paints a picture that the jury buys into 100%, and JT is ruthless. However, it is not as entertaining as the number one on our list. Number one. Throw everything you know about the previous winners on this list out the window. Chris Doherty of season 9, Vanuatu, really sets the stage on how to do this correctly, and no one else ever tries to copy him, and I'm not sure why. He has one strategy, and that is just to BS his way by pretending to be humble and pretending to be the most sincere person in the world in a way that Brian Heidik could only dream of doing. Chris goes 100% the entire final tribal, and even though he doesn't sweep the jury, it is the perfect contrast to Twyla's no BS attitude, and is by far the most entertaining performance by any survivor ever. Eliza is the first juror, and she says she knew Twyla would be a lying jerk, and she wants an apology. Twyla doesn't give her one. Chris, seeing this and knowing that Eliza wants an apology from him as well, he says,
Eliza, when I made that pact with you standing there, I didn't intend to do you wrong. I did it as strategy, and you're right, I owe you an apology. I broke our pact, and I am sorry.
Thank you.
Chris isn't really apologetic. Just look at how he treated her 2 days ago when he votes her off. I highly doubt he is now a good person only 2 days later. He just knows what Eliza wants to hear and is feeding it to her. He also does take the opportunity to say that, hey, I only did what I had to reach the end. If you want to blame someone for why your lines fell apart, look at Twyla. She was the one who gave me the lifeline to save myself and vote you all out. I'm innocent. This is half truthful. With Amy, he says the only reason you and the rest of the jury is not saying the final two is because you all are kinder and better people than I could ever hope to be. What a load of crap. But then Julie comes up and she feels hurt by Chris.
So
Julie,
tell me,
I
what
never...
was authentic about our relationship and you?
I didn't play you, Julie. I lied to you, and I let my heart get in the way. And at the end, I didn't even know if I was gonna write your name down. And I decided at the booth, I played the game. I did you wrong, Julie, and I'm sorry I lied to you. If you disregard anything to do with me, I understand. But I truly looked at you as a little sister, and...
That's enough. That's okay.
I'm sorry.
Don't worry, the story of Chris and Julie has not wrapped up quite yet. He isn't done swaying her. The more Chris talks nonsense, the more consistent it is, and it almost seems like he isn't BSing. The only reason we know he's lying is because all of his confessionals all season have painted the true Chris. This is the same Chris that mere hours before this final tribal council tells us that he's gonna try to trick Twyla into not apologizing to anyone. He tells Twyla, yeah, if they throw any stuff my way, I'm not apologizing to them. I'm not backing down. Twyla says, yeah, I'm gonna do that too. So when Eliza was the first juror and Twyla didn't apologize like she said she wasn't going to, and Chris flips and does apologize, oh yeah, Twyla had to know Chris BS'd her. But what is Twyla gonna do about it? Just look at what he says happened to him in this game.
But in the latter stages of the game, I found that the money started talking. I started looking at getting to the end no matter what. And I feel like the two people that possess the least amount of those qualities are sitting right up here. And I look at the 7 people on the jury. Everybody sitting over there possesses a genuine quality that they looked past the $1 million. And it's something I didn't do. It's something I'll take with me to try to become a better person.
The jury is eating this up. Seriously, if it wasn't for Scout pointing out how he is up to his ears in BS, everyone would be buying this with no questions asked. Sarge even tries to trick Chris by saying, I'm not giving you my vote. I just want to know, are we going to be friends outside of this game, even when I don't vote for you? And Chris says, you don't worry. We're going to that NASCAR race in Charlotte, like we said, no matter what. I don't care if you vote for me. And that is all Sarge wanted to hear. But the final words from Chris are the icing on the cake.
Julie, and I did you wrong. And you're still like my little sister. And I brought you your hat. Eliza, you're absolutely right. I definitely owed you an apology. What happened with you and Julie makes me feel like I don't deserve to be sitting here. that any one of you would probably deserve it more. And that's no bull. Amy and Leanne, I came across an opportunity in the game and I got to sneak in the back door because of the very person sitting to my left. And because of Scout. They changed the alliance, they changed the course of the game. And I took advantage of it. You're both sitting there because I did what I had to do to benefit myself. Chad and Sarge, no matter how you vote tonight, I still made 2 dear friends. So just vote from your heart. You know, just feel good about who you vote for, that's all.
Honestly, Chris is the best, and my mind cannot be changed. He is head and shoulders above the rest with his final tribal council performance, and I highly recommend watching all of Vanuatu. Keep in mind the first few episodes are slow, if not at least the final tribal council, to bask in the story arc of Chris and how he goes from a doofus to a man fighting for his life who plays at a breakneck speed in an era without idols. So what final tribal council performances are the best in your opinion? Did I not include them in this video? Comment below and let me know. Anyways, thanks for watching, and doubly thanks for liking and subscribing. See you all next time.